Good morning, everybody. This is Rhonda. I'm here for today's morning coffee revolution. And today, morning coffee revolution is where we talk about how Canada is governed and the safe, legal, easy, accessible to everybody actions we can all take together to bring in real change for future generations. And real change in how we're governed, not just appealing to our existing government for change. So, and when I say government, I'm really talking about political parties and those we elect from those political parties. So that's, and our whole parliamentary system of governance that they work inside of, protected from the rest of us. So anyway, from our opinions and our voices. So today is Thursday, and it's kind of going to be a catch-all day because we've been getting a few messages, the same type of messages. So I wanted to address that. And we've been getting, people have been asking the same sort of questions, so I'm going to address some of that. And again, trying to keep it all close to the 15-minute mark. Closer to 10 if I can. I'm a bit wordy, so we'll see. Anyway, thanks for being here. Remember to like inside the video, show us some love so that it gets to a lot of people on Facebook. Share, comment. We're here for discussion. I think that's the biggest takeaway that people should be getting from these videos, is that these videos are about discussion, to open discussion. And we try to stay on topic to what the video is about for the discussion underneath the video for that day, so that people are not pulled in 18 different directions inside the comments. We do these every day, or I do these every day. The only day I do not do them is Sunday. They are closed captioned so that anybody who does not understand English can see the wording in the language of their choice. If you're at work and don't want to have the audio on, you can just read. And I am sorry for my staggered talking and my ums and oohs, but it is what it is. I'm not a professional speaker. This is just me sharing what I've learned over many years of research and teaching my son, and as a result of getting involved with an organization for real change in how we are governed. It has to do with changing our democracy system in Canada, because we, the citizens and Indigenous people, have never really been an active part, or allowed to be an active part, in our own parliamentary democracy that Canada has. Now, I don't know if some of you are aware, but there is a democracy scale that countries are graded on. Canada always rates very high, or higher, solely because we have referendum legislation. But it's never used. Or rarely used. I can't say never, because it has been used, but it is very rarely used. I'm 55, and it has been used once in my lifetime, and it was used by Brian Mulroney, and he used it as a stick. He didn't use it because he wanted to use it. He used it as a stick on the premiers, because the premiers weren't doing what he wanted them to do. Think about that. That was the Charlottetown Accord in '92. It wasn't done for the people. It wasn't done for you and me. In fact, they did their utmost best to make it as confusing as possible for you and me. But it was done because the Prime Minister at the time wanted to put some amendments through on our Constitution, and the premiers were not cooperating. And Quebec was threatening to hold their own provincial referendum. Now, provincial referendums can't change federal legislation. But that's what was happening. And so all the premiers said, well, we're just going to have our own referendums. However, not every province has referendum legislation. So Brian Mulroney brought in the referendum very quick. It was fastest referendum ever in Canada. In fact, before that, I think the last referendum was about alcohol prohibition. That's how few referendums we've had in Canada. So at the federal level. Provincial level, there's been a few more. The province I live in has had a few. My municipality has had a few. They're not uncommon. It's just they're not used very often. And it's a tool that we should be using on a regular basis. We should be used to having regular referendums on policy issues that affect us all, on issues that affect us all. Because with referendums come education. And one of the things that Canada does not have is skilled voters. We are emotional voters. We're not skilled voters. So it's very easy for politicians and political parties, through the way they hold elections, to sway our public perception during an election. We tend to forget all the history that's happened during an election. We also have people in Canada, and this is not right or wrong, it just is a fact. We have people in Canada that will vote for a certain party no matter what. They are party voters. Then we have other people in Canada who are policy voters. They vote for the policies. And those are the people, like myself, I think, who are most frustrated now with elections, because very few policies are actually discussed during election time. We don't know what their platforms are. We don't know if they're going to hold themselves to their platforms, because their platforms are constantly changing. And half the time the platform changes after an election. Things are brought in that were never discussed during an election. This is what's happened in Saskatchewan. We had an election right in the middle of this whole schmozzle that's been happening this last year in Canada. None of it was discussed. And changes happened as soon as the election was finished. And I'm pretty sure some people would have voted a different way had they known what was in the works prior to the election. But because our only democratic right in Canada as citizens is to vote, once we've voted, anyone that we voted in can go ahead and do whatever they want until the next election, and we can do nothing about it unless we stand up. And we're putting in, this is why I got involved, is because I recognize that there's a lot of things that we do in Canada as citizens when we're not happy with something, but very few of them result in change. If you're about creating education and awareness, you must always also have an action to bring change around the awareness and education that you're creating. You cannot wait until enough people have woken up. You cannot wait until you get to this imagined critical mass of people accepting that this is the way things are. You need to be promoting a solution right along with the education and awareness. That is how good activists work. Now, if you want to do nothing but create awareness about something, but your real purpose is for you to get voted in, or for you to if you're really working for a political party, if it's really about making sure that a certain political party gets elected, by all means, you would only be wanting to create education and awareness, because you'd be sitting on the fence waiting to see what people's perceptions are so you can switch with them for an election and get ready for an election. And that's what we see happening all the time. All the time. We don't have good education in Canada. We don't have great education inside our school system around Canada's governance. We don't have any education really outside of our school system around it. So, and that's a problem. That's always been a problem, but it's been a problem that our government likes, because then they can keep us in silos fighting each other, instead of figuring out that really every issue that we have in our country is a direct result of decisions our governments have made at every level. And the only way to change those decisions is to get involved. And I don't mean get involved by being a politician. I mean get involved by changing the system. And I don't mean get involved by changing the system to throw out and replace government with one that you like. I mean change the system. Change it to one that we all are a part of. And that's what the power shift is about. That's what the Canadian People's Union is about. It's about changing our existing system. Now, people think that's daunting, and it is. But it's way less daunting if you have the correct legal actions around it. It's way less daunting than fighting the issues at an issue by issue by issue with the government. Because you can, once you have your equal democracy, I say equal democracy, but really we become a part of our parliamentary democracy. We become the collective head of state that the government then must have, we can stop the government then from decisions that we know are not in our best interest. We the people can then trigger referendums on a more regular basis around policies. Every major policy in Canada should have a quick referendum. Other countries do it that are way more populated than we are. Our only hurdle when it comes to referendums is the fact that our country is so spread out. But what are the MPs in Ottawa testing out right now? If you've been following the news, you'll see that they've been testing out mobile voting. Now, I know a lot of people think that that's it's going to be fraught with all types of corruption. We have a Canadian revenue system, like a CRA system, where we all go in to check our taxes. We all go in to check. It's all available. And then for that certain percentage of the population that actually can't use computers or doesn't know how to use computers or whatever, that whole thing is easier to address than not doing it at all. We've got to start somewhere. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on that. We keep getting messages about, can you help us find a lawyer? Can you help us, my school in my province, we don't like some of the health regulations or the health orders for our children, and we want to change that, and we want to invoke Nuremberg Code, and we want to do all of this stuff. The citizens can't invoke Nuremberg Code. As much as you want to, and as much as you would love to, you can't. Nuremberg Code isn't really a thing when it comes to general public being able to access. It's not law. Like it's not. There's a whole misconception around it, and it's a misconception due to a bunch of posting and stuff on social media. What you can do is you can exhaust every legal court action available to you. You have to exhaust your own internal, in your country, every system that your own government, your own country allows you to access for your rights. You have to exhaust that first with provable evidence, and then you can start at the courts that the UN owns. That's how war crimes are, or crimes against humanity, all of that. That is how that starts. But every country must exhaust all legal actions inside their country first, before, like, the people must exhaust all legal actions, and their government must step in, or another country. Usually what happens is it's other countries step in, other country governments step in and make a claim or start the process. You can go, I've already done a video on this, and in the links, and I'll put in today's links, I'll put in the comments, I'll put in the links to the two international courts that are true and real, because there's a couple of international courts cropping up that are, you might as well just call them kangaroo courts, because they're not recognized by any country or any country's governance, like at all. They're just cropping up because people are so tired of what's going on, and they feel like they have no way to process this or no way to fight this. Well, we do in Canada. We have a way, and every country can use what we're doing with the power shift. And what we're doing is getting to the root of what's really causing all of this in a way that fixes it, not just for what the rest of our lives are, but for our children and future generations. That's why I do this. It's not for me. It's for my child and all future generations, my friends' children, everyone that's coming, everyone that is under a certain age that doesn't know, isn't even eligible to vote yet. That's why I do this. Because if you're eligible to vote, you can fix this. If you are 15 years or older, a Canadian citizen or Indigenous person of Canada, you can fix this. All you need to do is sign your Convention of Consent and Letter of Independence. There's two things. Convention of Consent. The Convention of Consent is very important because it is your oath, basically, that you are uniting with everybody else who also wants their collective rights and their right to hold government accountable and their right to say that they want referendums and their right to democracy. That's what that is. It will trigger a constitutional question or constitutional challenge, however you want to word that, to place the citizens collectively. So the word collective will be there. So the collective citizens and Indigenous people as the head of state in our Constitution. We will go for a constitutional amendment. The Letter of Independence is to give to the British Parliament or the UK Parliament for Canada's independence, for our independence. That's never happened. Our own Constitution isn't a product of Canada's Parliament. It's a product of the UK. We're not independent politically. Our economies, all of that is independent, but politically, we're not independent, and we need to be. So that's sort of the 2 cents on all of the questions that we're being asked. If you're asked, if people are looking at you saying, why would I want to do this? Like, this is, collective rights to do what? To do what? Well, although we're not a union, people will associate collective rights. They kind of understand labor rights better. And that's a collective right that the unions fight for inside of workplaces. So we are, in a way, doing the same thing for our collective rights politically to be the head of state, to have the collective right to our democracy 365 days a year, so that we don't vote it away one day every 4 years to somebody else. Because that's the way our political system is set up. That's the way Canada is governed, is that one day every 4 years or at every election, the people vote their democratic right to self-determination, to have a voice. And we assign that right to a person. Much like shareholders assign their rights to whoever they vote onto a board of a company. And they only get that right back when it comes time to vote in the next board. Do you see how Canada's kind of set up? It's not it's not hard to understand, but it's hard to wrap your head around. Just, first of all, how easy it could be to change, and at the same time, how many people need to do it. So so I'm going to leave it there because it's a heavy talk. I didn't mean for the talk to be this heavy today, but it is what it is. And I'm here every morning. We also are doing webinars now every Wednesday, and you can go to our website. I'm going to create a post today because I have mentioned several times now that we're changing our website. We're building a new website. And so we've been moving our domain names around to all point to the same website. And now we're having issues with secure certificates on some of them. So some of them are coming up right now, I think if you use the powershift.ca, it says not secure. It's not secure because the certificate hasn't come through to say that it's a secure site yet for that domain, because we've switched where the domain points to. So for all those that are geeky, like I'm quasi geeky, so I'm going to create a post with what domain name you can use right now. And the easiest one to remember is the, THE, I can't type it in the comments while I'm in a live, but I will do it after. And I will also create a whole separate post around this. And so I may even tape a thing to the posters here so that people understand that it's not that our website's not secure. It's just that the domain names, all of the stuff to get them pointing in the right place again, hasn't rifled through the whole internet. Sometimes it can take 2 days, 72 hours. It can take a while sometimes for all of that to filter through. Sometimes it's fast and sometimes it's not. We don't get to decide the timing of it. So anyway, have a great day, everybody. Don't get caught up in the crazy. Enjoy your life. Really, we only have one that we are conscious of, for most of us anyway. Just enjoy it. Get out there, help your community, help your friends, help your neighbors. Get to know your community. Figure out what's going on in your community. Even though things have been pretty crazy in our country the last year, communities are still banding together. There's still actions that communities are doing. And this is where the power shift starts as well. It starts with fixing our communities first. It's just all about being engaged, being informed citizens, and really embracing what's going on and not getting caught up in the drama. It's actually quite freeing knowing that you're working towards a solution and you're not just complaining. It's quite freeing knowing that you're taking action. And the power shift is a safe, legal, easy action that anybody can do. Doesn't matter if you're a government employee, doesn't matter if you are can't leave your home, doesn't matter if you are, whatever you are, does not matter. Anybody who is a citizen and Indigenous person of Canada can do it. It's 100% private. Nothing is public. So the only thing that you would want to do is on the letter of independence. If you do not want your name to be public, there are options on there for that to happen. So have a good one, folks. Ask questions, discuss down in the comments, please. We're bringing back discussion and critical thinking in the way we do business in Canada as a people, as discussing our politics. Discussions and critical thinking. 2 superpowers that almost don't exist anymore. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.